Okay guys, welcome back to our coaching series. I am Allie and this is my dad Mike. And if this is the first episode you're tuning in for, we're gonna be silly today because we have fun. It's not all serious.
It's true.
But we're gonna kind of go through and see how well we know each other and our diet past. A dark past. This might be an expose.
Oh wow.
Not really, because this is just our personal experience. So before we start, we want to make a disclaimer that these are our experiences with all of these diets we're going to discuss today, and kind of why we found ourselves in the carnivore camp unexpectedly, because we had really never heard of it before last year. As we were learning more about it, it was just like, these people are crazy. And then we started it and we were like, wait, it's working.
Actually, we started it and she said we were crazy.
I did. And I swore I was never gonna start it multiple times. So that was humiliating. So if you wanna know our credentials on this coaching series, we are chronic yo-yo dieters. Dad has been on carnivore for like, what, 14, 15 months now?
Mom can tell you that. I just say over a year.
It's been
she can tell you how many weeks we've been on it. Since the end of January of 2024. Yes.
Yeah. And I was on it for 3 months last year and then quit, gained half of it back. So I started again in February, been going strong, and I'm in my 3rd month currently. So we've had a lifetime of serial dieting behind us, and our failures are your pleasure today. We're gonna play a little game and we're answering for each other. Okay, so the first question, are you ready?
Yep.
First question is, how many diets have you been on? And like listing them to the best of your ability. He's gonna answer my diets. I will answer the diets I think he's been on.
Okay.
Including carnivore?
Yes.
Okay. I should have brought my privacy folders.
Is there points off for bad spelling? Because we know I can't spell.
No, but they might be mean to you. Are you ready?
So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 for you.
I have 6 for you.
Ooh.
Well, okay, to be fair, we've done most of our dieting together. There's been very few times where we, went our own ways in the world. I hope they can read this.
Probably be able to read hers. You probably can't read mine.
Okay, so starting strong. Carnivore, keto, paleo, calorie deficit.
Yep.
Atkins.
Yep.
Intermittent fasting.
Yes.
Are there any I missed?
Yes.
Oh, dang.
So I have for you.
Starvation.
Yes.
Let me get up.
I haven't gotten to that one yet.
Jeez.
Animal-based, her go-to, the one that she always defaults
Baby,
to.
catch me being animal-based for the rest of my life.
Which is basically, in her mind, there ain't no animal involved. It's 100% fruit. Keto, Weight Watchers,
Yep.
I paid for that for like 18 years, I think.
Thank you. Did nothing.
And I would tell her every month, I would say, I'm going to cancel Weight Watchers. No, I'm getting back on it on Monday. For years, that was a reply.
We both knew. This is our favorite game to play.
Yeah, that was fun. Starvation followed by binging, because she would start on this starvation kick where she's like, I'm on a diet, which just meant she ate nothing. And then next thing you know, she's eating all of it.
That's the God's honest truth.
Carnivore, and then fruit.
What do you mean fruit?
You'll just eat fruit all the time, which then you'll call it animal-based. But there's animal-based, and then there's just fruit only.
That's true. That's very true.
And so, yeah.
What did I miss on yours? Oh, you also forgot one on mine.
What?
I feel like that should be a fun question though. The worst diet we've ever been on out of these, and why? Okay, it was MetaFast.
MetaFast, another one I had to pay for.
Yeah. Okay, so going through some of these patterns, he's very clearly inclined.
You missed lots on mine, but
What else is there?
Well,
both of us forgot the juice fast that Mom would make us do.
Yes, Tanya, sweetest woman in the world, got on this juicing kick, and then we got to drink nasty green juice. But the treat was we also got to drink nasty carrot juice. And so we were, just drinking nasty juice all the time. So, talk about wanting to kill your will to live, and you're just trying to keep from it all coming back up. It kills your appetite, I guess.
Yeah.
So hey, there's that.
Listen, we did lose weight. Mom turned orange from the carrot juice. It was me being 8 years old, gagging down celery. It was disgusting.
Yes.
Props to those of you who love vegetables enough to do a juice cleanse. It could not be us. Will never be us again. The patterns here would be, you definitely are inclined to liking meat. Carnivore, keto, paleo, Atkins, all of those.
When I found out that I could eat steak every day and call it a diet, I'm like, I'm being pumped right here.
Yeah.
Okay.
What do you notice about mine? Mine aren't as streamlined.
The main thing about yours is they always cost me money.
Weird.
Yeah, it's like sign up for something.
Weird how I switched to the free ones when I got married and had to pay for my own stuff.
Wow, that's amazing.
That's weird. Mine is just like shrouded in panic. It was just like whatever would stick, you know, which none of them did.
Well, and I feel like you were also very much always trying to do it also with some of your friends. If someone else was going to be on Weight Watchers too, then you were going to be on Weight Watchers, and then I would get to hear the whole Weight Watchers spiel about how wonderful it is. And I know people were successful on it, but you also missed, I did a good hard watermelon diet for a while. It was wonderful. Calories in, calories out. That's the one everybody loves, and I still get, and you're probably watching, you're going to get hate on your comment. Go to our channel, williamstable.com, for that hate. And I just feel it's a gym bro somewhere that's out there saying, these people are so stupid, they don't know it's just calories in, calories out, it doesn't matter what you eat. Tell that to people who have been literally healed from all kinds of autoimmune diseases and all that.
Tell that to anyone with type 2 diabetes.
So, you know, and they're going to say, well, you get rid of the processed food, you get rid of the sugars, you get rid of all that. All true, yes. If you do nothing, I don't care what diet you do, get rid of all those things. But if you are just counting calories, a calorie is not a calorie. A cupcake has a certain number of calories, an apple has a certain number of calories, and a steak has a certain number of calories. Somebody just eat those things only, they're going to be very different in the way they look. And especially like vegetarianism and veganism, and just you lose, and calorie deficit, you lose muscle mass, you lose so much. And the people that do calorie deficit, you know, they drink these enormous protein shakes and stuff, you know, whatever. But anyway, we're talking health and diet.
Yeah.
We want to be healthy, so.
Second question is how long on average we would last on a new diet?
So how long would you last is what I'm writing?
Yes, and I'll write how long you would last.
Okay.
Why is yours so short?
I think I'm being generous.
Oh, yikes.
What are you writing? Are you writing a paragraph?
Okay, we ready to reveal?
Yeah.
Until vacation / the weekend.
You're not wrong on the vacation part.
1 month. Oh, you did numbers. Okay.
Well, yeah.
That is being generous.
You know, you have the cycle of diet, and we all love this. We've been guilty of it. I'm sure you've been guilty of it. You get on a new diet, and what do? You go preach to everybody who's not on this diet how stupid they are and crazy they are and all the benefits of it, and you become like the master salesman of the world telling everybody why they should be on this diet. It's like the stages in a diet, the denial. So the first week you're just sold on it because somebody already gave you the sales pitch, you know, the timeshare thing. So you're in all the way. So now you're in, and you're convincing everybody else that you're not crazy for being in, and that they're crazy for not being in. And by week 2, you start to realize it kind of sucks, but you figure it'd be easier if you got more, like, you know, converts. So you really amp up.
And you have pride at play.
Oh yeah.
Pride is always at risk, people.
And so then by week 3, you really start to lose your will to live on it, and then you're basically, now the only thing keeping you going is how many people you convince that they should be on it too.
Yeah, that's awkward.
And then by the 4th week, you're just like, forget it, it was dumb. Or by that time, somebody else has already given you a new sales pitch, and now there's a new diet you should be on.
I was always looking for whatever was the least amount of effort with the most reward, and so that's why I would gravitate to things like Weight Watchers, because it didn't eliminate anything that I could have. And you'll have people on all ends of the spectrum talking about if restriction is healthy, and you know what happens whenever you restrict. And I understand where they're coming from, truly. I personally don't plan on restricting for the rest of my life. However, my body is not healthy enough to handle all the food groups, and so until it can be functioning the way it's meant to, this is the answer for me. And I really couldn't come to terms with the idea of like giving up what I loved permanently. And you had to tell me every day, you were like, you're doing carnivore today. You're not doing carnivore for a year or for 2 years. You're doing it for today. And that made it smaller. Like I could handle that. Our brains like cannot imagine doing stuff like that for so long. If
you will stick to it, and this wasn't Alex's story, but it's been so many other people's story, and it was our story, is that the longer you do it, the easier it becomes, and the more you're likely to just stay with it as more of a lifestyle. Now, I do know a lot of people who transition to more ketovore, where they're still predominantly steaks or meats and fats and proteins and all that. but they might start to incorporate a few other things.
Yeah.
The key is going back to what was your purpose for doing it, and is it sabotaging your results? And I think when it comes to coaching and having an accountability partner, that's almost just as crucial as when you begin. Because I know that whenever you transitioned off of Carnivore the first time, you really didn't want to talk about it.
Yeah.
And you were convinced that what you were doing was working. And in the beginning, it did work a little bit.
It worked enough.
It worked enough. And then you just kind of, next thing you know, time passed and it's just gone.
Because for me and for Dad, like, we've always had to have, we've been the most successful on something that is black and white. Because if we have any gray, that's where we live. Like, we take full advantage of that. So on Carnivore, you know, you really, it's meat. It's meat. If you're not eating meat, you are cheating. The end. But on keto, it's like, oh, well, if you stay under 25 grams of carbs.
Right.
Well, baby, I can eat half a McFlurry and stay under 25 grams of carbs.
And not just that, it's all the keto junk. There is so much keto junk out there.
Which true people on keto don't indulge in that, and they have drastically different results. You know, and I will say that because, like, we didn't have the self-restraint to not take advantage of that broad spectrum of cheats and supplements.
Yeah.
And all these diets that we've done where you had to pay for something, they want to make money off of you, and they want to remind you of all the things that you can't have, and like, here's your answer.
Yeah.
So Carnivore, I mean, there's obviously businesses that profit from Carnivore, but it really is an all natural diet. Like, you won't buy things from the grocery store.
If it's in a package, packaged food, processed food. And I know, and I always say the junk, it really, Atkins is the big one that has all the stuff. So even on keto, I would look for the Atkins things, because if you get just the right amount of chemicals in something, you can subtract carbs from it, and then suddenly sugars don't count. I mean, it's just like, you know.
I cheated the first time on Carnivore. Like, what spiraled me off was on day 86. This was my logic, okay? This is just sugar talking though. My logic was, I think I want to cheat on my husband's birthday, but I don't want to ruin his birthday by getting sick, because I had been on Carnivore for 86 days, and on day 90, it just happened to be his birthday. We had already made reservations at a place where I knew I could get a Carnivore meal. Like, I just didn't care. He would do all this for me so it would support me, you know, but I didn't care. And so my thought process was, let me cheat just a little bit on day 86 by getting a keto snack, see how I feel. And within a couple of minutes of eating that, I literally had heart palpitations. I thought I was dying, y'all. Like, I called my dad, I'm crying, I'm like, I think I need to go to the hospital. Like, I had never felt, like, I'd had stomach issues before from food that upset me. I had never felt like organ function change. I was like, I'm literally gonna die from these keto gummy bears. But all it took, even though I got extremely ill for 2 days, 2 days later, I was cheating with real food this time. I had cake, I had a cookie, like.
And that's what's bad. A lot of those things, that sugar, alcohol, or whatever's in there, will definitely tear you up.
It messes you up, and it's really like one of the things I like about the elimination of Carnivore is you start to realize the effect that the standard American diet has on your body that you've never known, because you've been acclimated to it your whole life. And so when you take it out and you have it again, you're like, I feel horrible. And it's like, you've actually felt this way your whole life and you didn't know.
Okay, what is your biggest motivating factor to stick with it now? What is it that you're seeing that you're not willing to give up? So a disclaimer here, I cannot spell.
Oh God.
Period. I can misspell some of the most basic words. I'm talented.
Nothing is beyond your abilities.
No.
Do you want to go first? You only have one. Mommyhood and energy. That's so true.
Yes. So it's kind of a combination. Mommyhood, which she is currently mommy right now, and she needs the energy, but then she also wants to get pregnant too. So mommyhood in general, and mommyhood energy that you need to get up throughout the night and not have as much sleep and still be able to function and teach kids at school and all that.
Yeah. We've had our daughter, we're fostering our daughter right now. We've had her with us for about a month. Something I realized when I started Carnivore, being a teacher and teaching this young of an age, teaching first grade, was I am such a better teacher on Carnivore because I want to do fun things with them. I have the energy to like play games and go the extra mile. And that is something that like you as a person deserve, even if it's just for yourself. You know, it doesn't have to be to give and serve somebody else. You're worth it to do this stuff. But like the last 4 or 3 months of the school year has been totally different than it was the first part of the year, because I was just trying not to hurt. I was just trying to get through the day. Like,
well, and you know, it might even come across sometimes as lazy if you just want to sit down. If you just don't want to go and do, and you're not doing it out of laziness. It's like your motivation being, I just don't want to go play with those kids. It's just like you physically can't. And that's what one of the things on one of our videos that we did, Tanya talked about that and how she looks back at being a young mother when we were younger and having you girls, just how much she missed out on because she didn't have energy. And so if you're a mother out there or a grandmother or whatever, and you just don't have the energy, you're always hurting, this is a wonderful diet to give you that life back.
Even if you're not overweight. Mom's never been overweight, but this has totally transformed her chronic fatigue, all of her arthritis, her endometriosis, like everything has been sent back. And she feels better than she's ever felt any age. She has always had chronic pain. No matter what age or what she weighed.
Last night we went to the driving range, and then afterwards we went and played pickleball. And we were at the pickleball court at 9 o'clock at night, which is like normally an hour into her sleep cycle. She's usually in REM at that point.
Tanya is gone.
Oh yeah, sync with the.
She's in REM sleep at 8:30. Okay, I have 3.
Okay.
The first, they're not bad. These are all good. Okay. The first one, health/vanity, and I'm going to touch on this for a second. Okay. I don't mean vanity in like a negative way. When you are overweight, and I talked about this in my 70-day update, you are like trained to subdue your image, to hide, you know, like
big baggy clothes.
You just want to be as invisible and take up the least amount of space as possible. And whenever you start to feel confident in your skin, you are like, oh, this is who I've been the whole time, you know? And like, I don't think you would trade, even if this was your only one, I don't think you would trade it. Like, you've never felt better, and you look like you did in high school, you know? Because he grew up really, really sticky. Like, he was thin.
I can even, like, hey, I'll show you. Because like, this is our wedding day, and I'm embarrassed of how I looked right here. Like, I could not believe how much weight I gained, because I basically went from
Mom looks so pretty
up there to very overweight very quickly.
The aging backwards, this is something like whenever you're taking care of your health for the people you love, because him and Mom are coming into just obviously uncharted ages. Every age you are going through is uncharted, you know, but like, they don't want to be elderly, you know. You don't have to be elderly just because you're old or you're aging, you know. And so when people find out they're 56, they're like, what?
Just turned 57.
Like, they're in shock, because they're like, I would have never guessed, you know. If you just look at their days on paper, you didn't know their age, you would think they were in their 30s. Like, so that's a big one. And then Gran passed away really young. She was only 63.
I'm not sure exactly how old she was, but she's way too young.
He's approaching the age that she was when she died. And I remember being in the 12th grade and she passed, and I was thinking that her age was old, you know, like, because I was 18. Now seeing them being 57, I think she was 63 when she passed away. So that's 7 years from now. I mean, I will literally only be 33. I cannot imagine you being gone. And so it's just, you know.
Well, not just that. I mean, her quality of life had been bad.
She was very sick.
She was sick for a long time, and in and out of the hospital and kind of all that. So
but to be fair, with preventable things.
They
were all preventable.
It was all
because of
weight
her health
and diet related for the most part. She did have some underlying health issues, but they could have been managed.
Okay, next question is, what diet or like what plan would you be on once you've hit every goal? Health goal, weight goal, you're just at where you're wanting to be.
Okay. So I'm answering for you, right?
Yes. Okay.
So you just love that animal base.
Listen,
it's like a license to eat anything. I'm not even sure. I know what it is. I'm going to do some research on it, because I'm going to learn. We're fixing to do on our channel a video that tells the difference in every single diet out there that's related to this whole low carb world. So we can clear up some
You're definitely right. I wouldn't necessarily say keto specifically, because something you have to know yourself and know why you're wanting to do a certain diet. Vegetables are never the reason I want to get off carnivore.
Tanya would be like that. She loves vegetables.
Fruit is the reason that I want to be off carnivore. If there's a reason, and I'm just being super raw and honest, it's fruit, because it's sugar.
Matter of fact, my favorite fruit is watermelon, and there's the best watermelon in the world right down the road, and it's from a place called Sugartown.
Yeah.
A Sugartown watermelon is like better than a candy bar.
It's so good.
Yeah.
And so for him, I'd say it's going to be like a ketovore mixture, but I added fruit because on keto you really can't have fruit that has significant carb count. Like you can have berries, which you don't even like.
I don't like berries. I haven't had an apple in over a year.
Yeah, so like the fruit that he'd be wanting is not technically ketovore. We hope you enjoyed this video, and if you've made it to the end, I really would love for you to go into the comments and tell me if you've done any of the diets that we've talked about, or if there were ones that we didn't do. You'll never catch us being vegans. Never gonna catch us being vegetarian. We do love meat too much for that.
Tanya, she was our vegan.
Yeah, but let us know in the comments if you did any of the diets we've discussed or some that we forgot.
Yeah.
And it's always fun doing this with Dad. Thank you for coming on the channel. And if you haven't subscribed to the Williams Table, that's my parents' channel.
Eden's gonna put it in the comments.
It's coming somewhere. Go ahead and subscribe to them because they also make lots of content about carnivore and their own journey. We have a lot of family videos on there too. It's really fun. So thank you guys for watching, and we will see you next week.
Bye.